Hi friends, we are starting a new series in our YouTube channel, and because our garden has a variety of plants that can be eaten, and we do eat if not daily, every couple days, so we utilize all the plants that we have, and we decided that if we put all the plants, it's going to be a long video, 1 hour 2 hour video. So we decided that we will, in each episode, we will put one plant that we eat for ourselves, and which you can also plant in your landscape and make it look beautiful, have it to eat every day as well. So this is the whole concept of this, and in each episode there will be a new plant. Most of our plants that we have planted here actually satisfy everything. They have an aesthetic appeal, they can be eaten, and many of them also have medicinal properties. Very popular catchphrase these days among the growers is starting a food forest, and it's a very good thing to start something. If you have a small space, to have a small area in your garden around your house to plant plants that actually give you food, and not just landscape but food as well. Terminology wise, yes, it is giving you food, and that's what it's supposed to be. You don't have a lawn, empty lawn that you mow every week. You have plants that actually sustain you, that give you food. But most of the time it's very hard to make it beautiful as well. Either you have to make it look pretty and not focus on certain ground covers or certain canopy plants to actually make it a real food forest. And everybody says it's a food forest, but it's just, we sometimes see there are like 2 mango trees and 2 papayas and 3 bananas, and that's not a real food forest. You can term it a food forest because it gives you food, but it's not a forest. So to give it a look of a forest and still make it edible, as well as to have an aesthetic appeal to it, is an art project and something that you will have to learn with experience. And that's what we are trying to do here, is to not just plant fruit trees that can be trimmed into shape and make them look pretty, but gather more plants, not cut trees that actually sometimes can give a nice canopy to certain plants that are not cold hardy, that need protection during cold, that can be under a huge tree. And that takes us closer to more of a permaculture concept, where you have ground covers, where you have bushes, where you have taller trees, and then you have huge trees as canopy trees. This is a meditation garden, and when we were starting, people would say that certain plants that we have are not edible, and should not be in the food forest. And we actually wanted a forest look. We wanted to feel like we're living in a forest that has all the edible plants and fruit trees and vines and creepers and ground covers that can be eaten or can be used for chop and drop, helping other plants grow more successfully, and planting plants that actually help attract bees and butterflies, that help in pollination. So that was the whole concept. And there were some plants that were not clearly edible, and some of the friends said, "Oh, why are you planting these? And they shouldn't be in the food forest. Just throw them away." Food and shelter are the basic needs for everyone. Once those needs are fulfilled, it's innate in every human being to look for more subtle fulfillments, and those subtle fulfillments are fulfillments of the senses: sense of your sight, sense of your smell, and sense of beauty. Beauty comes only after basic needs are fulfilled. If you ask a starving man what he needs, he would say food and shelter. If you ask a man who has already food and shelter and all fulfilled, he will look into more like beauties of life, like the creating art, creating poetry, creating music. And those things only come when your basic needs are fulfilled, or when you have a desire for something more deeper. And that's what our garden is. It's not just a food forest. That's why we won't call it a food forest. It's a meditation food forest. It's a meditation garden. And one plant that we could not exclude from our garden was bamboo, because being a meditation garden and having a close association with all the Zen meditation cultures, bamboo we thought should not be excluded. We were actually very fascinated that these bamboo, this particular variety, Timor Black bamboo, it can be used not just for aesthetic purpose to give a beautiful look to your garden. It can be used for food as a food as well. Not the big shoots though. These shoots that you can see here, these are very young shoots, and these bracts or the coverings like that come from the nodes, if they have not exposed the inner stem yet, the stem is still soft. Once it gets exposed to the sun, to the light, it starts to become hard, develops a lot of now this one here, it's already exposed and this is hard already. Although it's a young shoot, it grows very fast. This is already hard. This one here though, here you can see a little bit of exposure, and wherever it's exposed, it starts to get fibrous, it starts to get hard. So you have to cut the ones that have not been exposed to light yet. So that's the trick. And this is one that is still young, and this can be cut. For cutting, you don't have to completely dig and take it out. You can take it as low as you can go. You cut it from there, so then you have your young shoot. So this is how we have taken the young shoot out, and these are the bracts, so they are covering well. So this shoot, his stem is not exposed to light, so it's very soft inside. I just snapped it to show you how easily it comes off, but actually there is a lot of edible part down here, so you actually are losing all of this. So I would recommend to cut it down here, so you can easily take these young shoots off of the bamboo plant. And what's important for you to check is that if it's a thick one, that has a more edible tissue inside. Thin ones like this will not have more. So this is a relatively young clump. Timor Black is a clumping bamboo, but not all the bamboos that you will find around are clumping ones. So there are running bamboos as well, which actually will run around and they can destroy your driveways, they can go towards your house wall. So be very careful. All the commercial varieties that you can buy right now, they are all clumping, so they don't go more than 4 feet wide on all sides. In Florida, the ones that you get here. So when you get from friends or you trade with someone, do ask whether it's a clumping type or not. Another thing is that not all the bamboos are edible, and we are lucky that this Timor Black is the edible one, which means that you can take the shoots off of the plant like this. If it's a thicker one, it's better, but once this is relatively young. I think we planted it not even a year ago, and it's pretty large already. More established bamboo clumps have very thick bamboo shoots coming out, and those will have more edible pulp inside. This is our more established clump of Timor Black bamboo. Here you can see a newly coming bamboo shoot, and this looks a little thin. I would still want for something that's thicker, and on this side you can see very thick ones coming, and we don't want them to go close to the fence. So what we can do is we can go as low as possible before the roots come out. So there's a lot of mulch, you can go really low. Once you snap or cut them off, then you should peel these bracts, they're called bracts off like this. So, and after you are done doing that, you find the edible tissue inside. Now I want to tell you that there is a certain process, and you will hear in the internet that, oh, it's toxic. Yes, there are many plants that have very high nutritious value and good medicinal content that, if not prepared properly, are toxic. So preparation is first part of the job once you take them off and cut them into small slices. There are many recipes online that you can look. I will not go into detail on what to do with the small slices that you make out of bamboos. You can always go down and we will put some recipes link. Very important detail about this bamboo plant is that if you don't know how to prepare, please don't go into this. It has to be properly prepared before consumption. Bamboo shoots, if they contain a certain chemical called toxophyllene, and if you just expose these bracts, cut those small shoots and put in your salads, you are going to get toxic effects from that. So please don't do that. Do your own research before you get into that. But it's a very, very important plant. There are a lot of research data on bamboo edibility and the medicinal and the nutritional properties of bamboo, and we'll put a link down on important research papers that have shown its benefits. Just on a brief note, bamboos have they're rich in proteins. They have 17 amino acids, out of which 6 amino acids are essential, meaning the body doesn't make those amino acids. Amino acids like leucine, isoleucine, that it's very important for your brain function, and they are in your DNA repair as well. Those amino acids you only get from outer source like food, and bamboo is one of those foods that are rich in it. The unfortunate, and certainly proteins and a lot of antioxidants as well, the unfortunate part of it is that if you just eat it raw, like just fresh out of hand, then there is also toxic chemical there. So there is a certain way to neutralize that toxic chemical. Like the same with, you have things in like very, very beneficial plants like chaya, spinach, the tree spinach. It also has. Similarly, many plants have oxalates. So there is a certain way to remove those compounds when you prepare. So there is a certain way to prepare the bamboo shoots. After you remove these bracts and cut the inner stem into small pieces or small slices, you have to boil in water with some salt in it, and that's a good way to remove that cyanide containing compound, which is called toxophyllene. If you boil for like 20-25 minutes with some amount of salt, like 10% of salt, it's going to remove 97 to 99% of that cyanide compound, and then it's ready to eat. Then you can use that those bamboo shoots for many different recipes. If you ever have eaten Thai food, which we are great fans of, they always have these bamboo shoots in them. The Chinese call the bamboo friends of the people. Vietnamese, they call it my brother. So all the cultures, the Southeast Asian cultures, they have the bamboo somehow ingrained in their culture. Like either they make a house with bamboo sticks, like strong ones, or they use it for food, or they ferment the bamboo shoots and then they use it over the winter. So there are many different ways of using this. Very rich in minerals, very rich in the antioxidants, and very, very important one, amino acids is very important. Maybe 50% of these amino acids and proteins are lost in the process of preparation, which is very, very needed to remove the toxic chemicals there. But even with that 50% remaining, I think it's worth it that you have bamboos in your diet. The way I grew up eating bamboos is in Nepal. In my home country, Nepal, we call it tama. We make we dry the bamboo. We first process it in salt water. We dry it, and then we put it under the ground, press it under the ground for many months, and then it becomes a very soft, leathery, chewy slice that can be used in many dishes. Like you can cook it with potatoes, or you can even make pickles out of it. So very important. I hope you learned something new. And it's not just looking beautiful in your garden, and it's not just giving beauty and the sense of a well-being of hearing wind passing through the bamboos, the gentle hissing sound that you can sometimes read in one of the Zen haikus. But it's also a good edible plant to have, and if you can make use of it in your daily life, I think it will be very beneficial. So that was our episode on bamboo, Timor Black. There are other edible bamboos as well, so I hope you have a small bamboo corner in your garden. It doesn't need much, especially this one. We don't fertilize that much. It does need watering in the initial periods. Once it establishes and you mulch a lot like we do, it's going to grow pretty fast and grow pretty well. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned, because we'll be coming up with something important edible plant in each of our episodes. If you need any instructions or any more information on these plants that we are putting, please write in the comments and we'll be happy to help.